Welcome to Revelation 17. Do you realize how close we are to the end? We have covered chapters 1 through 16. Tonight we'll cover 17, and then we've got 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22 left. So thanks for staying with me. Now, Babylon is going to be the central figure in this one. But we want to learn a little bit more about it because this is the one place in Revelation I can tell you for sure is symbolic. It is representing something other than the original Babylon. Now, it doesn't matter if you think that because it says Babylon a bunch of times that it's going to be the rebirth of the town that's in what modern day Iraq is, and it's going to be the rebirth of Babylon. Because God took care of that in Isaiah 13, 19 through 22. Here's what that says. I wanted to go ahead and read that so you know what we're talking about. God told through the prophet Isaiah, the people of Israel, he said, Babylon, the jewel of kingdoms, the pride and glory of the Babylonians, will be overthrown by God like Sodom and Gomorrah. She will never be inhabited or lived in through all generations. No nomads will pitch their tents. No shepherds will rest their flocks, but desert creatures will lie there. Jackals will fill her houses. There the owls will dwell, and there the wild goats will leap about. Hyenas will inhabit her strongholds, jackals her luxurious palaces. Her time is at hand, and her days will not be prolonged. Okay, now keep that in mind where God says, she will never be inhabited or lived in through all generations. That does not sound to me like it makes any exceptions whatsoever. Even nomads will not pitch their tent there. Shepherds are not even going to stop there with their flocks. This is going to be a barren, desolate wasteland, and it is not the Babylon that we're about to read about in Revelation 17. Revelation 17 is going to introduce us again to the beast. We're going to see the dragon, and we're going to see that the Babylon is referred to as the mother of prostitutes, and it is the abominations of the earth. And so it is being used as a symbol to represent all of the evils that take place on the earth. And this is what God says in chapter 17. One of the seven angels who had the seven bowls came and said to me, Come, I will show you the punishment of the great prostitute who sits by many waters. With her, the kings of the earth committed adultery, and the inhabitants of the earth were intoxicated, and with the wine of her adulteries. Now I'm going to pause for just a minute. Remember the book of Hosea. Hosea featured his wife Gomer, which was a prostitute that he was told by God to go and take her and bring her back. And he had to buy her back a couple of times and bring her back to him because she was unfaithful. And this was symbolic of how Israel was to God. And God referred to this many times in the Old Testament, that the nation of Israel was like a prostitute and went chasing after false gods. So here he is in Revelation 17, the ones that represent this type of adultery and pulling people away from God is who Babylon is referring to. And it could be a city, as we'll see in just a few minutes. In verse 3, it picks back up and says, Then the angel carried me away in the spirit into a wilderness. There I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast that was covered with blasphemous names and had 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was dressed in purple and scarlet and was glittering with gold and precious stones and pearls. She held a golden cup in her hand, filled with abominable things and the filth of her adulteries. The name written on her forehead was a mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of prostitutes, and the abominations of the earth. The name written on her Then I saw that the woman was drunk with the blood of God's holy people, the blood of those who bore testimony to Jesus. When I saw her, I was greatly astonished. And then the angel said to me, "Why are you astonished? I will explain the mystery of the woman and the beast that she rides, which has 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast which you saw once was," now listen to this carefully, "once was, now is not, and yet will come out of the abyss and go to its destruction. The inhabitants of the earth, whose names have not been written in the book of life from the creation of the world, will be astonished when they see the beast, because it once was, now is not, and yet will come. This calls for a mind with wisdom." No kidding. The 7 heads are 7 hills on which the woman sits. They are also 7 kings. 5 have fallen, 1 is, and the other is not yet come. But when he does come, he must remain for only a little while. The beast who once was, and now is not, is an 8th king. He belongs to the 7 and is going to his destruction. The 10 horns you saw are 10 kings who have not yet received a kingdom, but who, for 1 hour, will receive authority as kings along with the beast. They have one purpose and will give their power and authority to the beast. They will wage war against the Lamb, but the Lamb will triumph over them, because he is the Lord of lords and the King of kings, and with him will be his called, chosen, and faithful followers. Then the angel said to me, "The waters you saw where the prostitute sits are peoples, multitudes, nations, and languages. The beast and the 10 horns you saw will hate the prostitute. They will bring her to ruin, leave her naked, they will eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For God has put it into their hearts to accomplish his purpose by agreeing to hand over to the beast their royal authority until God's words are fulfilled. The woman you saw is the great city that rules over the kings of the earth." And as I like to do, this is where it just comes back to what I'm thinking. When I read through that about what Babylon is, think about this. It rules over the kings of the earth. I can think of 2 cities. One from a financial standpoint would be New York City. From a political standpoint would be Washington, D.C. At this point in time, we have no idea. If this is 200 years into the future, it could be totally different cities. But if we're looking at it from today, Babylon might be what we do in the U.S. It might be, if you look at all of the sinful things and all of the things that we do to lure people away from God, it might be the U.S. It might be New York City. It might be Washington, D.C. And then again, it could be something totally different. But what we see here is how the words can turn around. And when the angel explains it to us, we know that has to be the interpretation, because he says this scarlet beast is sitting on many waters, is sitting on the different waters. And then you ask, John's wanting to know, what are the waters? And the angel tells him the waters are the nations, it's the peoples, it's nations, and multiple languages are going to be there. And we would not have naturally thought that the waters would represent the people, not water like the oceans. And so there's other parts of this symbolism that I think are going to be really interesting. But some of these things we can't know because it is not that time yet. And when it is, we will know if we're here. So with that, that's Revelation 17. Now we find out what happens, and doom comes in chapter 18 for Babylon. And so we'll go over it in a little bit more detail on that, because that gives us all the details with it. But now the stage is set. So look forward to you with chapter 18. Thanks for watching.